There are 300 different symptoms, out of which around 24 to 32 of them are very, very common. Many women can come with very non-specific symptoms like difficulty in breathing, swelling of ankles, bloating, simple bloating as such, breast tenderness. So we cannot tell a patient she's not experiencing PMS because it doesn't fall in the list of symptoms they're having. Is it occurring according to her cycle? Is it occurring every month with her cycle? Is it getting relieved with her, when a cycle gets over? All of these are PMS symptoms.
So I've been struggling with anxiety for the longest time. I don't know how, and I'm on medication right now. And it just gets really worse around periods, like really worse. It gets very overwhelming for me, and really sad. I really hate that time because I know I'll go into that, you know, circle of overthinking, and my self-esteem takes a hit, and I did not know that.
Welcome to Berry Naari with your podcast hosts Saraswati and Aditi. One, a chai-loving engineer from Bangalore, and the other, a beer-sipping economist in Berlin. Join us and our expert guests as we enter the vibrant world of Indian women through the power of data and stories.
Hello and welcome to Berry Naari episode 6. We are here to speak about something super important. That's PMS. On full form is also known as Pre-Menstrual Syndrome. I do have to say here that a lot of times when we talk in offices and take workshops about menstrual health awareness and we ask the women what do they think is the full form of PMS, one of the answer that gets voted most is perpetual mood swings. And I have to agree with them. For a lot of us, PMS often means mood swings and impact on our mental health. We'll dive deep into what does it really mean to live with it, how does it manifest, and what can we do about it. We rarely hear stories of lived experiences of PMS, much less its impact on mental health. And I really wished my younger person knew about this. It would have saved me all those months where I would just wake up and every month there's 1 day or 2 days where I have this my low self-worth just kicks in real hard. I'll wake up and I'm like, just I'm not doing anything good. I am not doing enough with my life. I'm not like living to my potential. And 2 days later, like the period is here, or a few days later, the period is here. Oh, this, and I think I didn't even make a connection until I started working in the women health space that those cycle was happening because of this. It just felt so real and would really be it really affect my day through the day. So I'm so glad that we are having this conversation with two amazing guests. So thankful to both of them for joining in. So Aditi, who do we have here?
Yeah, great. I'm gonna add to that. I have to say I am heavy word proud of having this thing on PMS because it's actually one of the really first things Saraswati and I started working on in Cranberry. And over time, as Saraswati is saying, like I've been like no one talks about it, and I'm so proud that we started with this topic. Today we have two very special guests. We have Anju with us. Anju was one of our first team members at Cranberry. So she is like a really amazing person. I personally have learned a lot from her. And she's a huge mental health advocate as well. Amazing work, Anju. Like, tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Anju. I am 24 years old. So I'm from Bangalore, India. And yes, I work as a CXE customer experience engineer at Dell. I'm also a mental health advocate, like Aditi said. So here I'll be talking about my journey also about how I got into the mental health space and most importantly, the menstrual health space. And a huge thanks to cranberry.fit for that. So yes, other than that, I'm a total extrovert. I like trying out new stuff. I love meeting people. I'm very moody, and yes, that's about it. Saving the best parts for the interview. Sorry for the
Thanks,
conversation.
Anju. Thanks, Anju. Now I have to say my age also. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, but I want to.
They're all my
And
age. These are my colleagues.
thank you. I'm
I
Aditi.
take that. I'll take that.
When we started the call, Anju was like, Aditi, you look younger. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. So I'm taking it. Yeah, thanks, Anju, so much for sharing with us today. And we also have Dr. Liston with us, who's a part of our Cranberry expert panel. Dr. Liston is really has been amazing. She's building so much with us. Happy to have you, Doctor.
Hi everyone. Hi Aditi, Saraswati, and Anju. So I think like everyone else has introduced themselves, I think I should introduce myself. So I'm Dr. Pungureli Liston, or Liston for short. I'm a practicing gynecologist based out of Bangalore. So my area of thrust would be menstrual health and reproductive endocrinology. Um, I'm not a person who talks a lot, so I'm just opposite of Anju. So she said she's very outgoing and extrovert, so you have to really get me to talk. But I love enjoying. I love talking about the subject. I know a little bit. I'm very passionate about healthcare and doing the best for my patients. So that's where I fit in. I think the Cranberry family right now. So I'm helping them build a very not helping them as such, maybe like a little bit of guidance from my side, because they are doing so much on the menstrual health side. So I'm happy to be part of the team.
No, thank you so much. I have to say, when you talk about health, I mean, we can listen to you forever. Like,
Thank you. Oh, and I'm also 24.
Yes, she's my colleague.
oh my God.
In Mexico.
Oh, I'm not. It's not at all. I'm not
Yeah,
24. Don't
She's
look.
a
we
wonder
are.
kid.
I was like, I am leaving this now.
Right.
Can we just confirm we are all 24?
Yes.
Yes, that's the truth.
I know with doctors, it's like there's so much years of like studying
Yeah.
actually involved, right? That it's really impressive. And now, as with Cranberry, as we work more with doctors, we have so much respect. So glad to have this space. Uh, so let's start off talking about PMS. So doctor would pass to you to tell us more about what is PMS and why does it happen?
Right. So I think about 80 to 90% of us have had one symptom or one change, be it mood or physical change, that's affecting us during our menstrual cycle. But the amount of people talking about the whole thing is very, very less. So these type of conversation basically help women to come forward and talk about their symptoms, feel normal about their symptoms, and approach the right person or the right get help. That's the first thing. So starting off with what is PMS. So we can PMS basically premenstrual symptoms, right? This is what do you call, a set of symptoms which can include both mood and physical symptoms, which occurs in the later part of your cycle. So you do see that for it to be called a premenstrual symptom, it should be premenstrual. That is a good 14 to 7 days, 7 to 14 days before the onset of menstruation. So we also call this period as preluteal phase or late preluteal phase. So this is where it happens. It can, like I said, it can be anything, right? There are 300 different symptoms, out of which around 24 to 32 of them are very, very common, right? So a set of them include your symptoms, your like Saraswati was talking about, self-worth. That's a major issue with a lot of people, where you start doubting whether I'm doing enough with my life. The feeling of hopelessness and reduced worth is very, very common. Other things that can include will be depression or depressive symptoms, anxiety, stress is very high. You can also have a lack of interest in social life, work life, personal life. There can be total lack of interest. Sleeplessness or excessive sleep can be one of the things. It can be characterized by pain. It can be characterized by stiffness at joints, cramps, bloating. every possible non-specific symptoms can occur. So it does not matter what the symptom is, it is the timing which classifies a particular complaint as a premenstrual symptom. So this is, like I said, it's present in about 80 to 90% of people, but in about 40% of people this becomes a nuisance. It does affect your quality of life in some way, and in about 5 to 8% it becomes very, very severe. So then again, the premenstrual symptoms, when it starts affecting your life, a quality of life, it becomes a premenstrual disorder, where it can be two types: premenstrual syndrome, where it like we spoke about all these symptoms, it can have, you can have a mood symptom, you can have a physical symptom, you can have both together, right? But the it will start in your pre-menstrual period. It will get over by the time you start menstruating or by the end of your menstruation. So it appears cyclically. Okay. And when these symptoms become very, very severe, there is an entity called PMDD, or pre-menstrual dysmorphic disorder, which is a very, very severe form of PMS, which requires treatment with maybe SSRIs or medicines which will help you to improve your mood. Mood stabilizers, anxiolytics might be required, and physical symptoms might be need treatment for that through either combined OCPs or any other pharmaceutical agents. So it's a very severe disorder which is affecting about 3% of people who have PMS. And these are people who literally have to take a break from their life, recover for that one week or whatever time period that the symptoms are occurring, and come back. So simply put, that's the constellation of symptoms. If we have to talk about symptoms in PMS, we can go on, and it is individualized. Many women can come with very non-specific symptoms like difficulty in breathing, swelling of ankles, bloating,
Mhm.
simple bloating as such, breast tenderness. So we
Mhm.
cannot tell a patient she's not experiencing PMS because it doesn't fall in the list of symptoms they're having. Is it occurring according to her cycle? Is it occurring every month with her cycle? Is it getting relieved with her, when her cycle gets over? Did it start post puberty? Is it there? If it is not present during what you call as childbirth, or when she's pregnant, if these symptoms were not there, or by with menopause if it disappears, all of these are PMS symptoms. So that's briefly about what PMS is and what the symptoms are. So we can also talk about what is the cause. Cause is not a lot of people know. There is no specific cause, right? So that's why we don't have a systematic way of diagnosing it and treating it, and a lot of people don't consider it as an entity at all because cause is not
Mm.
known. But since it is cyclic, and we do see it's only seen in patients who are attained menarche, or they're in their reproductive age group, it has something to do with your ovarian hormones. So hormonal changes that happen. So what happens in your postluteal phases, there is decrease in all of these hormones, right? And a lot of women react to the hormonal changes differently. So the reduction in estrogen, progesterone, or your ovarian hormones occur in all reproductive age women. But why some women react differently to these hormones is their sensitivity. So the sensitivity to the hormonal changes is different in different women. There might be certain predisposing factors to you, like there might be a history, family history, genetical factors can be there. You can be a person who is already having some health issues that are already going on, where this can that can be exacerbated during the cyclical time, or if there is some underlying mental health issues that's already going on, it becomes worse during that time, right? So, and obesity, the food we eat, the stress levels we take, all of these have a contributing effect. So that's, we don't know the molecular level of things. So, but
Mm.
it's something connected with your menstruation. It's something to do with the fluctuation of hormones and how we react to it. As that forms the basis. So that's PMS in brief. We can talk about it forever. That will take a whole session, I think. But
I
yeah.
already feel like I've again learned something more about PMS that I didn't know before. So thanks so much
I
for
mean,
that
wait till
detailed.
it starts getting more funding. Then we'll learn a lot more.
Yes,
I
yes,
know,
yes,
I
yes.
know,
I
right?
think.
Yeah, true. So basically, like my experience has been just going through this crisis every month. And then after the crisis gets over, I would get period because I could never make the connection. I would just have crisis about having the crisis. Like, just feel like, why do I like every time every month just keep thinking that like I'm not good enough and I'm like making all these efforts. So just a double that double crisis that's happening, and it almost became a joke among the friends. Like, first you're having this crisis, and then I wish like I knew a bit more of this information before. But we do have like Anju here, and Anju would like to know how's been your experience of living with it, and or getting the diagnosis of it overall.
Yeah. So I want to mention this because I'm very proud of it. So before working at Dell, I worked as a community manager with the Cranberry Fit team. So as doctor was speaking, I heard the word luteal, and I was like, I'm so glad I know the meaning of that word. and and the entire credit goes to the Cranberry Fit team. I mean, through my work with the team, I personally learned a lot of stuff about my body itself for free, and I was getting paid for it by you both.
Sounds like a good internship to women who are listening. We are looking always for good interns. You
Yeah,
learn about
I
get
learned
micro
about
course
my
on
yes, I learned about my body and also through my work, and I got paid money for it. Dream job.
using it for our next intern. All our intern job descriptions now will have this clipping like added to it.
Yeah. So I learned a lot of facts about my body and a lot of interesting facts. So my favorite one was this one, which Aditi mentioned, the cravings around periods. Your body thinks you are pregnant. And that is why the craving. So I use it in all my friend circles and all, and they're like mind blown. Whoa, we didn't know that. So yeah, I didn't know it was a real thing till then. So I also got a lot of free tips on nutrition, meditation, exercise while building how it
Thanks,
is.
Anju. But I have to say, even I've become so much healthier over time, and my periods and PMS has improved in the last 2 years. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
thanks,
remember
thanks
you
for
telling
highlighting it.
about. Yeah. So yes. Other than that, so this is something which I've started speaking about recently because I felt that a lot of awareness needs to be spread. And I was listening to Dr. Liston saying that someone who already has mental health issues, it just becomes worse for them. So I've been struggling with anxiety for the longest time. I don't know how, and I'm on medication right now. And it just gets really worse around periods, like really worse. It gets very overwhelming for me and really sad. I really hate that time because I know I'll go into that, you know, circle of overthinking and my self esteem takes a hit. And I did not know that. So, yes. Yes. And I got aware. I also was mindful of other people's experiences when they used to go through similar stuff. And I also helped a lot of my friends. And there are a lot of stigmas around PMS, a lot of jokes made around PMS, like, especially in corporate environments when people just see a bossy, superior female and they're like, oh, she might be on her PMS, which was really offending. So yes, so this helped me develop mindfulness and body awareness. And I feel PMS is something most of my friends and we live with, and it is so much more than just mood swings. You have cravings, you have symptoms. I mean, a lot of symptoms like your boobs become sore, sorry, your breasts become sore, your sleep pattern, which doctor was talking about. So I used to beat myself up about it. Why am I sleeping so? Why is my sleep getting disturbed? Even though I have a good sleeping pattern. So a lot of awareness came in there, and also about the acne breakout. So I observed it on my sister and my mom also, and yes, and my anxiety just, I don't know, it's a roller coaster ride around that time. And yeah, I started exercising. I started eating healthy. It's not just about eating healthy. So when I was designing those templates for the team and for the community, there were a lot of specific foods and medication mentioned. I also started taking it. and we would in our community share with each other what are we taking and what's up with each of us, how are we dealing with it. So that also helped me a lot. And yes, so that is it about my experience. And yeah,
Thanks so much for sharing. I
thank you.
remember early on when we were speaking to women, a lot of them also would mention about anger, like just having this insane anger of like suddenly you would like realize like fighting with everyone or you're throwing things away, and they would just tell us, yeah, like we are really experiencing this because usually it would just all come under the bucket of mood swings. And when we had started speaking to them, we started speaking to them about specific emotions that they were experiencing, again, in terms of anger, in terms of guilt or sense of self worth, or feeling of sadness or feeling of aloofness, or staying away from everybody else. And that conversation itself became so enriching because and everybody would come and say, oh no, now it feels like I'm being heard, like there's more conversation happening around it, because otherwise it's all just usually like one umbrella of like all the symptoms coming together. So yeah, and I think Dr. Liston, just to give a bit more context, I mean, with Berry, we are obviously like trying to working on preventive health solutions to improve PMS. So when we started like an year back, the first users were just the team because I like almost said that we have to improve our own PMS and like follow through these like preventive habits for 8 to 12 weeks to see if we see the symptom improvement, like along with 15 other women who were a part of who were our friends and like people we knew who were experiencing PMS. And once we saw improvement and it worked, like Anju was just sharing, we're like, okay, now we think we should like now make a product out of it. So that's what Anju was sharing a bit more about. Yeah.
Yeah, Anju, so was interesting to know like the connection between your mental health and how you then connected with your menstrual health. So just Stella would want to know a bit more about the journey. Like, did you go to a gynecologist first? Like, how was that whole experience for you? Or if you've still not been to a gynecologist about it, it's okay, but you've been going to mental health practitioners. Yeah.
The only time I've been to the gynecologist is when, it was a part of a regular checkup from the company, and they were just focused on the STD part. So other than that, I haven't been to a gynecologist yet. So yes, mental health and menstrual health. Let me talk a bit more about that. So huge shout out to my friend Jomi. He's a counselor at NIMHANS. So he got me like talking about this, expressing myself and understanding myself. Like, that like anxiety is not just a. There's no one cause to it. There are a lot of causes, and I understood that. And then the first specialist I went to was a psychologist, and then I took up meetings with a psychiatrist too. So it was, I don't know how to begin. It was a transformational journey. It not just improved, it not just helped me um, with the awareness part, but it also improved a lot of other things, a lot of patterns. And I believe that, like just like the program in the Cranberry Fit team, it takes commitment. It takes commitment to commit to do a certain exercise every day, to eat a certain kind of food, and that takes a lot of effort, but it is a huge investment in your future and your future health. So I see it in that way, both taking care of both your mental health and your menstrual health. And the earlier you start, the better it gets. I mean, knowing about the different phases, and not just about in the mental health on the mental health side, but also the menstrual health side. Like we all used to discuss about follicular phase, luteal phase. We made a lot of memes around it. So a lot of this I didn't know for the longest time, how it impacted and why I was always full of energy after my periods got over. So I feel awareness goes a long way, and these conversations help a lot. So when we speak up, we are giving chances to a lot of more women to speak up. And maybe they're not comfortable on a public platform, but they can speak to us regarding this. So my mental health, I came out in, I think 2 years back with about my anxiety and stuff. And then a lot of my friends started hitting me up like, hey, I go through something similar too. Can you help me out? And they wanted to remain anonymous. They're still anonymous. So yes, so I was like, okay, it's not just my suffering, that we are all together here. Like, there's a lot of people suffering from similar stuff, and the more I speak up about it, the more they will also get help. Yes. So yeah,
So I
That's
think
a
from
y-
what
y-
what I'm gathering from what all of you are speaking of, my personal experience itself when it comes to PMS and things like that, I think more than help from a doctor or a healthcare professional, the first step should be with a, I think, conversation with your own peers. It's easier for you to come up, get out and tell your symptoms without the fear of being judged. So like Anju said, not many people like visiting the gynecologist. I've seen this all over. Like if you say gynecologist, they are like, we are I'm a gynecologist. So we are like people, they're very scared or apprehensive. One thing is, a lot of people tell me is a lot of gynecologists are very, very judgmental. This is what I keep hearing from a lot of my patients, especially the younger gen, means like the Gen Z, I think, like 20 plus. The
Like people
first
like
thing,
me and Anju and
yeah.
all of us. Yeah, yeah.
Nowadays, even I'm hearing
correct.
that even women in a older age group are having an issue with going to a gynecologist, or they only visit when there is an emergency issue, right? So
Mhm.
when there is a divide, the divide basically comes because a lot of us don't know whom to approach when a particular health issue comes up, right? And gynecologists in India are branded as baby doctors. Like, you are there only to deliver babies, and maybe in later life, if we are bleeding somewhere very heavily, you go to them. But I think having a conversation which is telling women that, what you're having is not something you suffering alone, or, it's not something that's happening just to you. And there are a lot of women around you who are also suffering in silence, thinking, no, yeah, we have been told this is normal menstrual cycles, women are supposed to, bear with this. Pain comes along with the whole menstruation thing. You shouldn't complain. That's another thing, right? We are,
Mhm.
as women, we are not allowed to complain. We cannot say, like, it's painful. We cannot say we are uncomfortable. We cannot say anything which is
Yeah.
out of the ordinary, because we have been told that it's normal, you have to take care of it. So getting out of the mold, and then first of all having a conversation, like knowing what it is, like knowledge on what is causing PMS itself will solve half the problems. It will solve why you are in a particular time in your cycle you're feeling a certain way, and why in a particular another time you're feeling really the opposite of what you're feeling the other part of the cycle. So knowing what is happening during your cycle, educating yourself about that. Second, having a peer group or a support group or a community of people who will say, yes, we are also there, we're also, and sharing, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And thirdly, very important, like Anju mentioned, consistency is very important. These are not problems that are going to go away, because your cycle is every month, so it's going to occur again and again. If you're not going to make the necessary changes or things like that, it's going to come back with the same intensity or even worse. So you need to be very, very consistent about it. And lastly, I think the last go to would be, getting in touch with a healthcare professional. Half the time, why? Because one, you have to have treatment in that at that point of time, or second thing, visiting a doctor, or the time period of a consultation is 15 minutes, maximum 15 to 20 minutes. In that 15 to 20 minutes, nor can you express all your symptoms to the doctor, nor can the doctor, elicit a history so deep enough that she knows all your problems, he or she knows all your issues, right? So that's another what you call, it's like a hurdle towards diagnosing and treating PMS symptoms, I feel. So we need to know what we are supposed to convey. So before, one thing I always tell my patients is, before coming into the clinic, know what you want to ask me, right? What are your doubts? Be clear about what you want to ask me. Ask that, and only get out of the the chamber once you are clear about your doubts. Just because that 15 minutes is done, you shouldn't get up and run. That's not needed. The other patients or your doctor can spend another additional 5 minutes with you, if that's going to help you clarify all your doubts, and be sure of what you're going to do for moving forward. So that's how I think we can address the problem as such. Because diagnosis, and getting women to come out and talk about it is the biggest hurdle for us. Treatment is simple, we can manage. There are a hell a lot of management techniques that can be thought to, but yeah, coming out
Yeah,
and
that's a
knowing
great
you have a
point.
problem is the
Yeah.
issue.
That's a
Yeah.
great point of like just women coming out
Yeah.
and talking to each other.
Yes.
I mean, just to take a moment and look at the stats, like for everybody, I just want to quickly share that like 80% women experience some form of symptoms. That's
Symptoms, yes.
every like the eight in 10 women are experiencing some form of PMS symptom. 43% have premenstrual syndrome. That's like half of us, and 8% of us experience PMDD. And just to make that a bit clear, if you know someone who in your family or extended family who has diabetes, highly likely that you'll also know someone who has PMDD because the percentages are almost similar. So if you think you know someone with that, you almost also have someone who's also experiencing PMDD. So really important to talk, speak about these symptoms, and not think of this as something as a me problem, like something that just happens with me. And maybe like something wrong with me, like everybody else seems fine. No, we are all going through this. So just speak out, and I'm sure there'll be other women who will find support in that. So thanks, Dr. Liston. That's actually a great point.
Yeah, so I have a tough question for you, Dr. Liston. So, like, let's say now I'm a woman who hearing this, I'm kind of like, oh, even I think I have this pattern of like,
Yeah.
having these symptoms. So, like, what would you like say to me? Like, what should I prepare before going to the doctor? Should I start keeping a
Right.
diary already?
Right.
What should I go ask the doctor? Given this is such a tough topic, so.
Right. So one thing you should do is, like you said, mention you should have a PMS diary, right? It helps a lot because lot of time recall is not very accurate. One, you might either miss out on telling the doctor your symptoms, or you might overestimate or underestimate your severity of the problem. So always maintain a diary, and the diary should be kept at least for 2 cycles, right? So there are various questionnaires which are present all over, right? There are various tools that are present which you can download. One is called a DRSP tool questionnaire. So basically we are writing down the symptoms throughout the cycle and in a prospective way. So starting from this cycle and the next cycle, you'll note down your symptoms and which day of the cycle it is occurring and which day it is getting relieved. So your diary contains from day one of your cycle, that's your first day of period, till the 30th or last day of your period, and it continues the next cycle also. Second thing, the problem with this diary is it's very tedious. There are 24 symptoms that you have to score on 1 to 6. The scale is 1 to 6. 1 is it's not affecting my life, to 6 is extremely disturbful or something like that. So it's very tedious. Lot of women cannot maintain the diary throughout. Like, the regularity goes away. We all are busy. We cannot sit and mark 1, 2, 3 for 31 days for 21 symptoms. So the second tool that we use is a retrospective tool, where we give you a set of symptoms, like 14 symptoms. The problem here again is with this tool is we generalize a lot of things together. Like mood swings is put as one, anger is put as one, all your physical symptoms come as one category, like bloating, weight gain, everything is put in one symptom. So a lot of people feel that their particular symptoms are not included in the list, so they are not they won't be diagnosed with PMS. So what you can do is, in general, just maintain a symptom diary. Whenever you're feeling a particular symptom on a particular day, you write it down, and how severely it is, like affecting your day. Is it like preventing you from working? Is it like is it manageable? Do you have to like take the day off? How badly the quality is affected, you note it down. And whenever you're going to your doctor, take your diary with you. You have to discuss with it. Second thing, there is no diagnostic biomarker, disease biomarker we call it. So if you have diabetes, your sugar is high. If you have PMS, nothing is going to show up in your blood work. You're going to be completely normal and still you can have has some issues, right? So it's a very subjective diagnosis that we are doing. So you need to show the doctor that if you're coming in with the doubts, that these are going to be, this has been happening cyclically over the years, right? So at
Mm-hmm.
least over months. Clear. Second thing, you also always, when you're visiting your doctor, know what to ask, right? So if your particular symptom is like breast tenderness, each and every symptom of PMS has a different treatment. You cannot treat everyone as one fits all, right? So you have to tailor make each person's treatment schedule differently. And it is a multidisciplinary approach. A gynac cannot help you with everything, because if it's a mental health issue, you need a person who can counsel you, who can talk to you, who can guide you on how to manage your mental health better. If it is something to do with any general health issues that you're having, like excessive weight gain that's happening, constipation, anything, you need a general physician there. You need a dietitian who can help you with your food. So if most probably you will be getting, a referred, that is going to happen, but it is going to happen within your team. So have a team, right? So if your doctor says you need something, you need to get in touch with the dietitian and prepare a diet chart for yourself, or you have to meet with a mental health specialist. So treatment tailor made. So this is what you have to ask your doctor. If your doctor is prescribing something to you, we all have the right to question the doctor on what's being prescribed to us, because we are taking the medication. So you very clearly ask them what's the use of each of the things that have been mentioned to you, right? So like I was saying, breast tenderness. So for a breast tenderness patient, I cannot give SSRIs. OCPs might not help. OCPs might help, but not to a great extent. Immediate relief will be with vitamin E, primrose oil, or some antioxidants that we increase in our food. Weight loss can help with the breast tenderness and things like that. So is that being prescribed? So do your research, talk to other people who have gone through it, right? And if lastly is, if you are not agreeable to a particular treatment modality, right? Not all women want to take OCPs, because the only thing we can very scientifically give you is OCPs, because that's the only one that has studies. There are not many studies for the other alternative therapies that can be offered. So OCP is proven. So first thing you come and tell us, I am having very severe PMS. So if I want to give you immediate relief, the first thing I would prescribe is OCP. But that might not be like, your line of treatment you want to take. You can always ask for what can be done other than the OCP, right? So is a particular treatment modality okay with you? Are you like willing to take it? Do you want to, if there is some side effect profile, are you okay with taking the side effect profile? These are things that you have to discuss with your doctor. So go prepared. Go prepared to fire questions at your doctor and make an answer. No, most of us do. We will help you out with that. No one says like, no, don't ask me extra questions. But yes, the time constraint is always there. That's for both the patient and the doctor. Time becomes a huge issue nowadays. So that's how you prepare for your doctor consultation on a PMS.
Doctor, I want to ask
Amazing.
a question at you right now.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, you were talking about symptom diary and you spoke about
Yes,
breast tenderness. What are
yes.
some other common things that we can track?
Okay, you can track all of your PMS symptoms, right? So if you would have noticed a particular symptom that occurs in your premenstrual period or your late luteal phase, right? So if it is breast tenderness, you can talk about how severe the pain is. So you have a pain scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the minimum, 10 is the most, all right? So how bad is the tenderness? That's one thing. When is it occurring? So when does it start? Is it starting 7 days before your periods? Is it starting 2 days before your periods? So when a particular symptom start also has to be noted. So different PMS symptoms can start at different times of the period. Not everything needs to start 7 days prior to period or 14 days. It can be 2 days. So bloating can be just 2 days before your period. So what along with that, you can also make a small mention of what is worsening your bloating. Is there a particular food that you're seeing that is increasing? Is it a particular activity? Some people find coffee triggers this bloating. Some people find dairy triggers it, or fiber, anything, whatever is triggering your bloating, you note down the trigger event also, and in how many cycles this has occurred. So that's another thing that you can note down. And the symptoms that you can note down is physical symptoms, of course. Are you having any joint pain, stiffness that you have? Is there any general lower back pain, upper back pain, any pain that you're experiencing? Generalized myalgia, we call it, pain in the body. Other
Okay.
things would be if you are getting good enough sleep, or also breast tenderness. We already talked about bloating. We spoke your bowel habits, whether you're having
Mm.
constipation, diarrhea. This can also happen. Then how is your interest in work, and how is your mood swings? Mood swings, like you said, it's a very broad umbrella term, right? So you need to find, are you feeling extremely low? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling anger? Is anger what you're feeling? And but do you feel some people with PMDD do have suicidal ideation also? So if there is any extreme emotions that you're feeling, you can note it down, right? So any and every symptom of PMS can be noted down, and what you need to note down is how severe it is appearing. Is the severity increases as the day goes, is decreases, and lastly is cyclicity, which day of the cycle your symptoms are starting. So that why that
Okay.
cyclicity day is important is, depending upon that, we can, instead of giving you medication all throughout a cycle, we can individualize to the time when it is just before it begins, so that the dose is low and your side effect profile is low. So that's how you know.
There will be a pattern, right? Like
Yes.
simply.
Pattern, yes. For you, it might be one pattern might be present in one cycle. The same pattern might not repeat on the other one. And patterns differ from person to person. So, whatever the particular symptom pattern is for a particular cycle, that has to be noted down. If there is a change on the other side, that's not an issue. That doesn't mean that it's not PMS. Unless the symptom completely stopped appearing in your late luteal phase and it's present throughout, then that's a generalized history, right? So that's some other underlying reason that is there, which is causing it to be throughout the cycle. But severity can differ, and the time period it starts can also differ. That's not an issue.
Okay. So my therapist usually asks me to track only my mood, and for
Right.
those there are
Right.
only journal prompts. I wish we
Right.
had a PMS journal prompt or
We
diary,
should
right?
make one journal, actually, if this
So
if
I'm
it's
very fit team.
yeah,
We
yeah.
have we have one. We are going
Okay.
to improve
No,
it,
but
it
I see
seems
also
like.
like a book, like actually a physical PMS journal, which just has like these prompts and like
Yes.
you just
I think it's
kind of do
better
that
to
one.
do it digitally personally, because all the correlation and pattern analysis
Oh,
is easier to do. Because as Dr. Liston is saying, like so many other correlates of life will affect it cycle on cycle also, right, doctor?
true.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So yes, underlying reasons are another. Underlying causes are another reason why certain women experience PMS and certain don't. Right. So if you're already have a predisposition to develop something, right, like be it a mood disorder or be it anything physical, PMS or hormonal disbalance is going to make you go towards that faster, right? So if it's also called PMS if you have symptoms throughout and the symptom intensity is increasing in the later cycle. So simply put, if you already have a depressive disorder, like if you are a person who has mild clinical depression, you will the symptoms are there throughout the cycle, but the depressive episode becomes very very severe during your late luteal phase. So that is also a type of PMS, but with an underlying condition. So where this will help you, like a digital diary or a diary will help you, is you will be marking it as you've been having some depressive episode throughout, but the intensity of the depressive episode becomes higher when you're coming towards the late luteal phase. So that will help us to see that yes, the ovarian hormone is also affecting or pushing you towards worsening of symptoms. So that's how it works. Yeah.
We definitely
Can
need
these
a lot of
symptoms be?
research. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that there's so much research to be done here.
There is when it comes to research, I think research should be towards how we can without any bias or without missing out any women, how we can diagnose their PMS, right? And second thing is how can the treatment be tailor made, and should be and what are the other things, other alternatives that we can provide other than the OCPs? Because yes, like if a woman who wants to get pregnant has PMS, we cannot tell her take a
Hmm.
contraceptive pill. she is trying to get pregnant and you're preventing her pregnancy by just giving OCP because it manages your the PMS symptoms. That's not the right treatment. So in such a group, what do you do? Right? So there should be research into how to diagnose better and how to treat better. So both these areas need research. And thirdly, and how can women monitor themselves better, right? So what can be done there? So how, instead of having like 24 questions with 6 options there, how can we simplify the symptom diary for them so that anyone and
Yeah.
everyone can maintain it? A woman who has like who's working who's being the boss of the world, and she has like 24 hours, she has work for 20, she's sleeping for 4 hours. We can't ask her in that spend 1 hour to sit and fill your diaries, no? So anyone who's with any amount of activity or should be able to diagnose themselves or
Yeah.
monitor
Yeah.
themselves better. So
Very true.
that's where the research should be concentrated, I feel like, in this
Yeah.
field.
Also, side note, I think we have to do one episode on OCPs with you, Dr. Liston. So, I think you've mentioned it 2-3 times, and I feel like I have so many questions to
I've
ask on
already
it.
got a personal lesson, which was amazing. So,
Okay, maybe I'll have to do that next time. But yeah, absolutely. I remember Aditi went to one conference about where they were, what was that, Aditi? That these are called, there's not enough
oh
research, so they're
yeah,
just like,
true. That was, yeah, thanks, Aras. That was a very interesting, eye-opening moment for this. So, in a conference in Paris, one of leading doctor on menopause, she was saying that a lot of these things are called syndromes because not enough research is being. So,
Yes.
I mean, doctor, you can say what is a syndrome
Yes.
versus a
So
disease. Yeah.
syndrome is basically when there is a cluster of symptoms that are there together, but we cannot pinpoint. There is no particular, So just giving you an example, if there is a disease, if there is diabetes, I know what is the treatment for it. So I give you oral hypoglycemic drugs or insulin to make your diabetes better, your sugars get better. So syndromes, what happen is there is a collection of symptoms. We know there is a
Hmm.
common base for it, but we don't know what is the end treatment. So we treat it symptomatically. So we can manage a syndrome, but we cannot cure a syndrome. So when you don't have a particular end cut treatment for a particular disease, then it becomes a syndrome. So that just means that we need to study more on it, maybe in a
Yes.
molecular level, so that we come up with a cause for it and treat the cause. So that's why it's put as syndrome, and that's why it's disease, I guess.
I think that was the big takeaway from the
Yeah,
conference that she was saying there's no reason if enough power and money and research is put
true,
into women's health
true.
issues like this that we will one day not call it PMS but
So,
something else.
so basically,
we
all
know the
women's
cause is
Yeah.
different.
diseases are put as syndromes only. It's PCOS, it is PMS. So, not many people are willing to spend time and money on finding a cure for women, because we are selling a lot of products which are which caters to that, right? So, if
Mm.
that's big pharma, so we can't. That's a different.
And-
Let's not go there. It's very controversial
no,
right
no,
now. Yeah, so that's the thing.
no. Yeah, ready. So, I have another question for Anju. I mean, okay, we've already recorded really long.
Yeah.
Anju, so I think another one of the studies I was reading that was really bringing out the severity of like PMS and PMDD, saying that it's can be like for 6 days in a week for some women, which amounts to almost 8 years in their lifetime, which is insane, which is huge, right? And like where you can't socialize, can't work to your 100% and everything. So, I mean, if you want to share, I know you touched a bit about how your anxiety is really roller coaster before your period. Uh,
Yeah.
like, yeah, so how has that been for you? How do you handle it with your work? Because I know you work so much and you're really amazing at what you do, and just your social
Thank you,
life. How do
Aditi.
you, yeah.
I'll send this to my manager. This recording. Yeah. So I won't say I face severe anxiety for 6 days, but 2 to 3 days definitely. So yes, it takes a hit on me. I want to take a leave on those days and just sleep at home. But I know I'm talking about being grateful to Cranberry Fit team a lot, but it really is the truth. I mean, the work that I did for you guys and the awareness that I brought, for my own self, I believe that I have to be extra kind to myself on those days. So that was a big takeaway I got, because I mean, sometimes it's just not me. I can't just blame it on myself. I have to stop beating myself up like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Oh, I have an important presentation and stuff. I mean, I can do my bit to,
Mhm.
reduce it, maybe eat better, drink better, take nectars fast, get a good sleep, even though my sleep pattern's disrupted. But I am like extra kind to myself on those days. If I want to leave, I don't think twice about, oh, I have double work. I just can't do it. I mean, I'll do it the next day with more energy, or the next week when I'm in my follicular phase. I'm so proud of myself for using these words. Yeah. So yes, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it the next day. So I'm extra kind to myself. I give in to my cravings, and you also to, and you also gave a, you also gave like health replacements, like healthy replacements, which I can take during my cravings, like protein bars, and which has more health benefits, but which will satisfy my cravings. So I do a lot of those. I do what I want to do. I sleep. I take break. I'm extra kind to myself. I don't talk to a lot of people those days, and I tell my friends to do the same thing too. Like if you're not in the right mood, or if you're not feeling it, it's okay. You're just on your periods, and they're pretty open about it to me. They're like, yeah, I think I'm on my periods. I won't be able to do better, or I just got my periods. I don't know how the meeting will go. So, when they observe me, I think they also, learn a lot, and they're also more confident about themselves. So, yes, that's what I would
Amazing.
say.
Amazing that you
Yeah.
also are talking so much about it with other women. This
Yeah.
has been super insightful conversation. Thanks so much, Dr. Lister, and thanks so much, Anju. I think my key takeaway is to really keep the conversation on and talk more about it. Not think that this is just something that's happening with you. And again, Dr. Liston, thank you so much for providing that point by point thing that you can do in terms of journaling your symptoms and speaking to the doctors and just preparing with the questions and taking action and keeping a track of what's working and what's not working. I think it's really helpful. I'm almost having goosebumps as we are like doing this conversation, because like really want so many women to talk about it and understand that they don't have to just suffer alone in this, or just think that it's something that they don't have control on, but it is something that can be managed, and their help is there, and we definitely need more research. Do you have any takeaway, Aditi?
Uh, I'll let Anju and Dr. Liston take their takeaways. Mine is just every episode we've been doing a hashtag, which is not a hashtag. It's a very long phrase. So this episode I'm gonna do hashtag it's biology, not a behavior choice. Because I think a lot of us, initially Saras and I would talk, it's about, oh, you're PMSing, what Anju was also saying. And it's no, like I'm not choosing to be like this. So yeah, that is my
Yeah,
takeaway.
I'm going
Yeah.
through PMS, but
Hmm.
not like I am not. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Dr. Liston, Anju, one takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it was wonderful being part of a conversation that I actually am very passionate about. I feel very bad when my patient comes to me and is not aware of certain basic things that they are supposed to be aware, because the conversation is so closed off here. No one wants to talk. Everyone says, "Oh, period," and anything associated with periods is not to be talked about. It's to be done hush hush behind a closed door. You talk to no one about it. So I think it's a great change to see so many people having a conversation, and having a safe place to have a conversation is a must. I think that's one thing that Cranberry is doing for women. So I'm very happy to be part of it. And my takeaway is to start listening more and being more more friendly gynecologist, so that people aren't afraid to approach.
Yeah, the
Yeah, so
hashtag friendly
hashtag
gynecologist.
being a friendly gynecologist. So that's my takeaway. So I'm going to be more approachable. People tell I've got a very serious face till they start talking to me. so I'm going to smile more so that I'm more approachable. No, I only hear this from my patients. Like, one or two of them say that, we are a little scared of going to a gynecologist because my previous one was strict. They were very stern. And so I think that's a common problem now. So I'm going to be a approachable gynecologist from now on. So that's my takeaway from this. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. So my key takeaway from this session is, you're not alone, and we have to start speaking up more because we're not just helping ourselves, we're helping a lot of other women. And the more we speak up, the better it will be for researchers and doctors and for us as well. So, yes, thank you, team.
Wonderful. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming onto this platform.
It's this
Just having, yeah.
No.
Aditi is too cool
That,
for it.
We're
that's
not
a
really.
generation. This is very bad podcast material, but I did a heart in a old people's way, and
Not 24. That shows the difference.
You gave it away, Aditi. So far, you were managing fine with being 24.
what?
Like, why did you give it away?
What the? Okay.
Okay. No, thank you so much, Dr. Liston, and thank you, Anju. This has really been at Berry Naari to bring this platform where we have a gynecologist to just come out and say that we are friendly, we are here if you seek out for help, and Anju for sharing so that I'm sure many more women will relate to this. And Aditi and I are super glad to have these conversations and many more of these conversations. So thanks everyone who tuned in to the podcast today, and see you at the next Berry Naari episode. Till then, bye.
Bye. Have a nice weekend, guys. Bye.